When I first started volunteering, I used to type my letters. I thought, type a letter, that's okay. And after about half a dozen letters, this guy wrote back to me saying, Ben, would you mind handwriting your letters? Because they're much more personal. Of course he's right. My next letter, I handwrote it, and I have ever since. But the funny thing is, in the next letter that I got from him, he said, Ben, I can't read your writing. I'm Ben, and I've been volunteering with Newbridge since May 2001. I currently write to 3 people, and Newbridge to them is something that had a huge impact on their lives and helped them turn their lives around. Letters are great to receive. Handwritten letters. Now just imagine a handwritten letter landing on your doormat as opposed to a bill or a typed envelope. If a letter means so much to us, and we have friends, and we have telephone calls, and we have mobiles, say a letter, handwritten letter, landing on our doormat, which one are we going to open first? Now just imagine, transplant yourself to a prison cell, an 8-foot cell, where you don't see anybody from the outside. The only letter or visitor that you might have would be your Newbridge volunteer. How important. I have a letter that was dated May 2007. Dear Ben, thank you for your letter. I decided to contact Newbridge as incoming mail was really non-existent, and it's nice to be able to talk to someone who you know will write back. You asked me a couple of questions which I'll try to answer. Yes, I do feel a volunteer plays an important role for us inmates. Some people don't get any mail whatsoever and won't talk to other people, so it's nice to know that there's always someone listening. We're all inmates at the end of the day, and we all crave the same thing, mail. Mail makes or breaks our day. Here's another letter. Hello, Ben. Thank you for your letter which I got today. It's always nice to hear from you. I don't have any family who I can keep in touch with. It can be so lonely without our friends or family. So Ben, you fill in for not having any of that, and I'm very grateful. Wow, the importance that Newbridge has on the lives of people that we befriend is enormous. Anybody thinking of becoming a volunteer with Newbridge would need to be prepared to do a visit. The very first occasion that I went on a visit, I was anxious, probably like any other volunteer going on their first visit. Never been inside a prison. How does the system work? What am I going to do? How am I going to cope with a couple of hours with this guy? It was an open prison, which means that you can be going out on a town visit for 4 or 5 hours, and then you're picked up and you've got to be back at by a certain time. And so I turned up, and he wasn't there. He was in town. So they contacted him and asked him, do you want to see Ben? And because I'm his only visitor, he said, yes, I do. So the prison then went out to go and collect him, to bring him back to prison, just so that he could see me. And just the idea that, a prisoner is ringing somebody on the outside to bring them back to prison just to meet their visitor is quite funny. Currently, there are 220 people like me. Volunteers can't do the work if the funding is not in place. So if you believe in what Newbridge does, but you can't commit the time to it for whatever reason, but you are able to support financially, it would be enormously welcomed. The interesting thing as well I found about becoming a volunteer with Newbridge is how it's made me much more aware of those that haven't been as privileged as me. And it really is an eye-opener. I definitely have become less judgmental. Just to give you some idea of who they are when they don't have the label of prisoner on their forehead, is one is a great artist, a second prisoner helps in the prison advisory liaison service where prisoners will come and ask him for help. He will also help in helping them to read, because there's a high level of illiteracy in prisons. The prisoner who is an artist has sent me some of his work, and it is stunning and flattering. He sent me a Christmas card which was of Brentford Football Club's ground. He'd done his research about what that ground looked like in the 1960s, because that was the decade that I was born in. And I just think that little touch, it means so much. It meant so much to me that he went to so much effort. It's a sharp intake of breath. I stay in touch with a couple of people. One, from time to time, does some training with new volunteers here at Newbridge. He's a Derby fan, I'm a Brentford fan. We sometimes go to football matches when Derby are playing Brentford, whether it's at Brentford or at Derby. He sends me postcards. Actually, quite recently he went to Sicily, and he sent me a postcard that was addressed to Newbridge, here at Newbridge, which Newbridge then forwarded to me. He said, "Who would have thought back in 2007 I would be sending you a postcard from Sicily? Ha ha ha." Absolutely fantastic. It's on my fridge. I love it. It brings a smile to me every time I see it. It's great. It means a lot to me.